addressing an IIT convocation, former Prime Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh said, "We are drowning in the sea of information but starved of real knowledge. Everybody knows everything, but no one knows anything." Good evening and a very, very warm welcome to the landmark, milestone, 30th International Economic Convention. Can we have a huge round of applause? Exploring the changing dynamics of economies through digitization. I'd like to begin today with a very, very interesting concept that I often teach in my class. It is about total quality management, which actually originated in Japan. It's quality focus, customer-oriented management philosophy. But I believe that every concept has originated back in our history from India. The most important thing is focus on the customer. Just like Guru Dronacharya made Arjuna the best archer in the world, he said, when you want to know the power of concentration, Arjun, what do you see? Do you see the sky? Do you see the birds? Do you see the trees? Do you see the river flowing? He said, no. Do you see the bird? He said, no. I see only the bird's eye. And that is the power of 100% focus and concentration. Bhagavad Gita says, the most pure relation in the world is between a mother, the parent, and the child. The amount of love, care, and concern that a mother puts in, it's their job to give food, clothing, shelter, education. But each parent goes out of the way, keeps awake in the night, does everything they can, take loans, do everything they can to bring up their child. That is the power of 100% concentration, and that is the focus, and that's why each of us have differences with our parents because they belong to a different generation. But if God forbid anything happens to them, we are the ones who are most affected because there is a relation which goes much beyond words. No child can be attached to anybody as much as he or she is attached to their mother. And that is what the concept says, 100% power of concentration. If you focus on your customer, just like a mother focuses on her child, she doesn't care how she looks, what she does, what her social life is. She only wants to concentrate on bringing up that child. That is the power of focus. If you focus that much on the customer, you give him the best quality, you give him everything, free gifts, discounts, the best quality, the customer is bound to feel attached to your brand. And that is what Lee Iacocca says, the best principles of marketing are 3. Satisfy the customer, and satisfy the customer. And the second thing that TQM speaks about is quality consciousness. I'd like to give you the example of the country Japan. If all of you have seen on the world map, Japan is 1/4 the size of Maharashtra, and Maharashtra in India is only one state. Nothing grows in Japan. It's not agriculturally rich, it's not oil rich, it doesn't have any coals, minerals. Neither are the Japanese people tall and well built like Americans or Africans. Most of them suffer from poor eyesight. The only reason, and of course all of us know, the worst 2 nuclear holocausts in the world, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, took place in Japan, where 3 generations suffered those effects. In spite of that, today Japan is the number 2 country in the world. Neck to neck with USA in every market. They have trade in every country of the world. How is that? Only because of one thing, and that is the electronics industry. And electronics, as you know, does not grow in the soil, does not grow on trees. I wish it was, we could pluck iPhones, but electronics is a result of the human brain. And that Japanese, when they say 100%, they don't even mean 99.99. That's their quality consciousness. If the train is supposed to come at 3 or 2, and if it comes at 3 or 5, Japanese people are refunded their ticket money. That's the quality consciousness that we all need to learn. In India, we are India gave the world 0. Sanskrit is the mother of all languages. We are the most beautifully, scenically beautifully rich in culture, but the only thing that we lack is focus on quality. And that is what Japan has achieved. I have an uncle, he visited Japan some years ago, and he said, Tokyo, the offices look like 5-star hotels because people work there till 3 in the night, they get up, they sleep there, get up at 5 in the morning, take a swim, shower, eat something, and they are back to work. If their basic needs are satisfied, they don't even feel the need to go home. Tokyo has a 0 birth rate. They are so obsessed with quality consciousness, they are so obsessed with work that they just don't believe in compromising on their work. A last example that I'd like to share is that a Japanese American company, IBM, placed an order with a Japanese firm for a part in a computer, and they said acceptable quality levels, AQ level, because in export you have to be very careful about what are your terms and conditions. So they said 10,000 units, AQL, 3 defective spare parts. So when the Japanese company executed the order, it was 1 big box and 1 tiny box. The Japanese EDP manager had written a letter which said, we Japanese never understand the Americans. We didn't understand. Your order said 10,000 units. AQL, 3 defective spare parts. What does that mean? That means we appointed 2 engineers who tried their best to create some defects in the spare parts. So here's your order, 10,000 perfect parts and 3 separate defective spare parts separately. And that's what the Japanese mean. 10,000 means 10,000, not even 9,999. In Japan, if a student, high school student, they commit suicide at the age of 13 if they don't get a field of their choice. At 58, if an employee is told to go home, retire, they go home and shoot themselves in the head because they cannot imagine a life without work. That's of course another extreme. We are another extreme. But somewhere the quality consciousness must come. So it's my absolute honor and privilege to welcome all my esteemed guests to this landmark, milestone, 30th International Economic Convention. Yes, we can have a round of applause. Come on guys, you can do better than that. I'd like to begin with welcoming our pillar of support, who's always there to support us all through our conventions and in every program, the man who's so passionate about Sindhiyat and a philanthropist and an educator, immediate past president, Mr. Kishu Mansukhani. Can we have a round of applause for sir? Tomorrow happens to be his birthday and you can see how energetic, he's the first one to arrive at every program. Thank you so much sir for being a pillar of support. A very warm welcome to the lady who is as comfortable attending board meetings as she's working in the slums of Mumbai, social entrepreneur and philanthropist and educator, Miss Maya Shahani, trustee HSNC board. Both are trustees who are always there for all the programs. The president of the HSNC board, who's genuinely a very good human being, as he is an ace lawyer. Unfortunately, he's not there with us, but he has sent his best wishes. I think a round of applause for President of HSNC Board, Advocate Anil Harish. And our Provost HSNC University, the most dynamic, running marathons, changing the skyline of Mumbai. Everybody says people write history, this man creates geography. Provost HSNC University, Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to both our keynote speakers, Dr. Ravinder Bangar, GST Commissioner, Navi Mumbai. Guys, let's give him a huge round of applause. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And yesterday I visited his office. A big heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Tirthankar Patnaik, Chief Economist, National Stock Exchange. A round of applause for sir. Thank you so much. And sir has already promised that he's going to take a lot of my students for internships at his National Stock Exchange. Thank you so much, sir. a very warm welcome. Today is a milestone day, not only for International Economic Convention, but for RD National College and for me personally, because today I have someone really special who has come here to support me, and that is everybody's favorite, former principal of RD National College and secretary of HSNC board, Principal Dinesh Panjwani. Can we have a round of applause? This is the first program that sir is here as a secretary, and we're really grateful, sir, for your support. Thank you so much. A very warm welcome to the pioneer and conceptualizer of this entire International Economic Convention, which came from the seed and the mind of a great visionary, Dr. Ram Tarneja. Today in fond remembrance, we have Mrs. Rani Tarneja, who's here to join us, supported by her son-in-law, Mr. Arvind Bhuta. Thank you so much, ma'am. Real gratitude for coming here. We are carrying the legacy. I remember I was a young faculty. Dr. Ram Tarneja would go college to college. He would make us check the research papers. He was so passionate. He would go through all the topics. Every convention he was there, from the executive summary till the valedictory. He was a great visionary for this. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. We are really grateful. And what can I say about a lady who does not need any introduction? The former Sheriff of Mumbai, the former Principal HR College, Chancellor, Atlas Skilltech University, Dr. Indu Shahani. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here. And you have set such high benchmarks that every economic convention has to try very hard to live up to those economic conventions. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. A very warm welcome to all my former convention people, Ms. Rajkumari Balachandran, my vice principals, convener Ms. Lakshmi Iyer, my faculty, support staff, but most important, the blood in our veins, our dear students who make this convention what it is. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. All the best to all the lovely teams. I can see 2 days of non-stop excitement. Everybody is very competitive, working very hard. And COVID taught us one important lesson. Life is not about getting everything that you want, but about appreciating everything that you have. So though COVID disconnected us physically, technology and digitization connected us externally. And everybody from top to toe had to connect through technology. So that's the topic, and I'm sure 2 days of exciting fun. Best of luck to all the teams. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here. And I conclude with the famous words, don't be pushed by the fears in your mind, but be led by the dreams in your heart. If people doubt how far you can go so far that you can't hear them anymore. Thank you so much.
Very good afternoon to all of you. Our distinguished chief guests, Dr. Banger and Dr. Patnaik, welcome. Our honorable guest, Dr. Indu Shahani and Roma Awal, Director of late Ram Tarneja. Our trustees, Maya Shahani, our big supporter, and a man who does a lot of things for us in a jiffy, Principal Dinesh Panjwani, who's the secretary to the board, dynamic principal, Nia Jagtiani, ladies and gentlemen, dear students and participants. Welcome to 38th International Economic Convention being hosted in RD National College, the first college of our board. We also welcome the participant colleges and the delegates representing and participating in this. The International Economic Convention, as you heard a little while ago, was constituted by Dr. Ram Tarneja and Principal Dr. Indu Shahani, and the first performance was hosted in 1993. Today we are honoring pioneer of this economic convention, Dr. Ram Taneja, late Dr. Ram Taneja, through his daughter, and Indu Shahani, the dynamic educationist. The annual International Congress Conventions is a flagship of HNC we hold. Over the years, this convention has become very potential forum of discussions, deliberation, and arriving at the conclusion of very interesting points. The theme of this year's convention, exploring the changing dynamics of economics through digitalization, a very interesting one, and we will hear from these two distinguished gentlemen more about this. So I don't want to any more comments on that. This convention is being held in the first college established by our founding father, Vidyasagar Principal K.M. Kandani. We, many of us, consider this land as sacrosanct, as this laid to foundation of our HNC Bid Board and followed by the establishment of 26 more institutions, educating from primary to PhD level. Today, for more than 45,000 students every year. My heartiest congratulations to Neha Jagtiani for overactive principal of this college. My compliments to her and her team, staff and students for Hardy National College who have worked very hard to organize the 38th International Convention. My dear students and participants, winning and losing is a part and parcel of the game. But what is more important is the participation. To me, you all are winners. May the best team wish on the esteemed Harish Lakhani Trophy. All the best. God bless you all.
Mr. Kishu Mansukhani, Trustee and immediate past President of our board, Dr. Neha Jagtiani, our honoured guests, Dr. Patnaik and Dr. Bangar, Mr. Dinesh Panjwani, principals, faculty, students and team members. It is indeed an honour to attend the 30th edition of the Economics Convention pioneered by Dr. Ram Taneja and ably supported by Dr. Indu Shahani at its inception. She's just left. We were really delighted to have her here with us. We sorely miss Dr. Taneja, but are indeed delighted to have his wife and his son-in-law with us. Thank you so much for being here with us. Today's topic is all about digitization and how it is affecting economies. Charles Darwin had said, "It is not the strongest of species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change." And John Kennedy had said, "Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future." One of the most impressive changes our society has witnessed in the last decades is the growth of a new economy. It is this new economy, information in all its form has become digital, reduced to bits stored in computers and flowing through networks at lightning speed. In these times of exciting technological innovations, economic paradigms are shifting. Digital transformation is accelerating at the wake of COVID, and the future is arriving faster than expected. Every industry and every organization will have to transform itself in the next few years. What is coming at us is bigger than the original internet, and you need to understand it, get on board with it, and figure out how to transform your businesses. According to MIT Sloan and Capgemini, 90% of CEOs believe the digital economy will impact their industry but less than 15% are executing on a digital strategy. In today's era of volatility, there's no other way but to reinvent. The only sustainable advantage you can have over others is agility. That's it. Because nothing else is sustainable. Everything else you create, somebody else will replicate. This is what Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, states categorically. The latest advances in artificial intelligence and related innovations are expanding the frontiers of the digital revolution. The new technologies hold great promise. They create new avenues and opportunities for a more prosperous future. Digitization has a proven impact on reducing unemployment, improving quality of life, and boosting citizens' access to public services. Digitization allows governments to operate with greater transparency and efficiency. Dr. Hiranandani just told us about it, what Prime Minister Modi is trying to achieve. Digitization fosters creativity and innovation. Combining the efficiency of machines and the creative skills of humans leads to innovations that can change the world for the better. For the greater part of the last century, communicating professionally meant writing letters, sending faxes, or going through hours on the telephone. Not any longer. Email was an essential method for correspondence in the advanced work environment, but even that is passé in the younger generation. According to Warren Buffett, digital transformation is a fundamental reality for businesses today. We cannot stress the importance and criticality of digital transformation. Every company, homegrown or corporate, needs to accelerate and innovate their workplace. Often businesses lose sight of the bigger picture and miss golden opportunities because they lose track of time and thought. Digital transformation puts technology at the core of business strategy. This approach can reduce operating expenses and inefficiency. It could even change the course of your business. With a unified model across business and technology, it's easier to achieve future ambitions. John Chambers of Cisco has warned that at least 40% of all businesses will die in the next 10 years if they don't figure out how to change their entire company to accommodate new technologies. There are so many benefits of digitization. It gives you access to almost anything. It is good for generating income. It builds up your brand. It helps in searchability. You can preserve all your data. It is amazing for interaction and integration. It helps in disaster recovery. The flip side is that it also causes many psychological disorders. Some studies have shown that the lack of human contact because of the excessive use of social media has caused many mental illnesses in people like depression and other forms. This is something we need to worry about. However, on the other hand, it has not only provided a new dimension in our lifestyle, but has also led to the development of communication skills and worldwide accessibility. Digital media has also provided 1,000 more ways of entertainment and recreation. Think of digital transformation less as a technology project to be finished than as a state of perpetual agility, always ready to evolve for whatever customers want next, and you will be on the right path. You can't delegate digital transformation for your company. You and your executives have to own it. Executives need to engage, embrace, and adopt new ways of working with the latest and emerging technologies. With fast ideas come faster innovation. 60% of Apple's revenue comes from products that didn't exist 4 years ago. That's the blistering pace of innovation. Expect that to become the norm in most industries as the future accelerates. Product life cycles collapse and disruption itself disrupts. It's no longer the big beating the small, but the fast beating the slow. We are only at the very, very beginning of this next generation of computing. The next 5 years will be more disruptive than the last 15. This is not business as usual. A lot of technology that came in 3 years ago doesn't work anymore. The biggest part of our digital transformation is changing the way we think. Peter Drucker has warned us that the enterprise that does not innovate ages and declines, and in a period of rapid change such as the present, the decline will be very, very fast. And according to Bill Gates, automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. So under the dynamic leadership of Dr. Neha Jagtiani and her able team, I'm sure RD and SH National College will scale greater heights in the digital race to create new avenues and opportunities for a dazzling future for their students. I wish them all the best for hosting the 30th edition of the prestigious Economics Convention, with promises to throw up some impactful insights in this field. So we're all looking forward for the students' insights, and we will all learn from you, because I hope I've given you some thoughts, and I'll look forward to the outcomes. Thank you so much.
Respected faculty, the dignitaries, Dr. Neha Jagtiani, Principal, Sri Keshu Mansukhani, Madam Maya Sahani, Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, who gave a message, Principal Dinesh Panjwani, and all other dignitaries, and most important, my dear friends. The last time I went to a school, a college, was in US, in Syracuse University, where I was taking a class. I was a faculty there. And after that, I have never been to college. I mean, I've just, I was on my job. And when I came here today, I got a shock, because I never imagined the kind of energy, the kind of enthusiasm I saw here, the kind of topics that were displayed, the kind of topics that were taken up in the previous conventions, conferences. I am literally shocked, because I never expected this kind and this level of energy, enthusiasm and research orientation in India. In fact, I find this much better than the students in the US. And I'm sure that the problems that we are going to discuss today, the opportunities, the problems, the trends, we have a solution. And the solution is you students. So I'll come up with what are the trends. The trends, as we see, friends, that in this time, we are living in times of exciting technological innovations. Firstly, we see that digital innovations are driving all kind of transformative changes. At the same time, economic paradigms are shifting. We are seeing that new technologies are reshaping the product and the factor markets. And that's how they are profoundly altering the business and work. More important and more pertinent are the latest advances in artificial intelligence and all the related innovations which are expanding the frontiers of digital innovation. In the last few years, because of the COVID, digital transformation has only accelerated. So the future is coming much faster than what we expected. These new technologies are holding huge promise. They are creating new avenues and opportunities for a more prosperous future. I will just give you some facts and figures to show you what are the trends. As you know, the number of smartphones, I am not talking about mobile phones, the smartphones in India are 600 million, and we have 658 million users. These are the latest figures. Now you compare that with the population of US, around 250, 270 million. So we have more than double the population of US. People have using smartphones, and those people are also using the internet. So this is definitely a very, very big market. In addition, you see the big shift initiatives, like you see that in we have Digital India, we have Aadhaar, the only such identification system in the whole world. It is the largest, it covers everyone, and it will have multiple users. It's going to change our country like in a very different manner. We have DigiDhan, we have JAM, we have GST. I am a GST officer. Then we have Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission, where we have open digital health ecosystem, another very, very big game changer. Many of us have not understood the implications of this particular program. To give some figures, as far as the JAM is concerned, you see that Jan Dhan accounts itself are 462 million accounts. Again, to remind, this is almost double the population of US. The deposits are around 1.73 trillion rupees. Aadhaar has reached more than 1.3 billion persons. And the mobile revolution is another game changer, because here you see 1.2 billion mobile phones, and out of these 600 billion are smartphones. In the US, as you may know, the cost of having a mobile, using a mobile is very, very high. Compared to that, the cost in India is very low. That is why we are able to reach out to all these, so many people. At the same time, India is a big leader in payment systems. Another digital marvel, the UPI has 7.3 billion transactions it has made till October 2022. They are the latest figures which I have got. And the growth rate is in 3-digit. We have RTGS, we have NEFT, we have NACH, which operates 24/7. Again, very few countries in the world have this system. In the US, just to transfer money from one bank to another bank, they charge very heavily. In India, I can just pay through Google Pay, or I can use NEFT, RTGS, and there's absolutely almost nil rate of commission that I have to give. So it's almost free. We have an incoming, very, very important central bank digital currency, which is right now at the proof of concept stage for wholesale and retail. It's going to come anytime now. Yesterday I was talking to the CEO of this Central Bank Digital Corporation. He in fact was going to be one of the invited guests, but unfortunately he could not come. So he was saying that the central bank currency is almost ready, the digital currency, which is nothing but cryptocurrency. It's almost there, and they have more or less decided on all the things, and it's just about to be launched. So India is at the forefront of the digital revolution. But friends, all is not that well. We have a number of challenges. The first challenge is, although we know that the productivity has improved in some areas, as economists, you should also know that the promise of the higher productivity growth has not been fully delivered. Okay, in some sectors, the productivity growth has actually slowed down in the past couple of decades in some sectors, and because of that the overall economic growth has also trended lower. So this is one challenge that you have to find the solutions about. Another problem associated with digitalization has also been that the income inequality and the related disparities have increased. So because across the economies you will see an uneven participation in the new opportunities which are created by digital transformation. Many have been left behind across industries, across firms, across the workforce. high skill, low skill workforce, and different segments of the society. Overall, the productivity growth is uneven because the firms at the technological frontier, okay, like Facebook and other companies, they have broken away from the rest. They have acquired dominance in increasingly concentrated markets. Their markets are getting more and more concentrated, and they are acquiring dominance in that. And that's why they are capturing a lion's share of the returns from the new technologies. However, there is a challenge that the productivity growth in these firms has been strong, but it has stagnated and slowed down in the other firms, despite aggregate productivity growth. So that is another challenge that we need to focus on, we need to address. Lastly, we also need to address the fact that there has been a shifting labor demand towards higher skills. So those with low skills and middle skills, their jobs have faced automation, and many of them are losing their jobs, in the process of losing their jobs. Only those with higher skills, they have a labor demand. So there is a problem of labor demand. This is hurting wages and jobs at the lower level of the skill spectrum. Now, some solutions for this could be, we can enable broader participation of the firms in the innovation economy. Another solution could be to widen the diffusion of new technologies. A third solution could be to build complementarity capabilities in the workforce. And I hope that this convention and your research, your hard work, your study should bring us closer to the solution. In the end, your efforts should help to bring India to the forefront of the developed economies of the world. And India should again regain its place as the most advanced nation, which we were in the past. The most advanced nation in the world. All this depends on you friends. It depends on your hard work, your research, the way you find a solution to these problems. And I'm sure that considering your enthusiasm, your energy, and your focus on research, we should be able to take India to the first place in the world. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Respected dignitaries on the dais and my friends in the audience, thank you for the opportunity. I am indeed floored by seeing this convention on economics. It has been there for 3 decades. I'm not sure how many universities in the country has such conventions and have been able to maintain them for such a long while and in such a successful manner. So, full compliments on that front, please. The advantage of speaking last is you've already heard what everyone else has spoken. The disadvantage of speaking last is everyone has already spoken what you wanted to speak for. So, and there's a double disadvantage that digitalization is so permeating in our society. I'm sure each one of us has some idea about digitalization. I'm not going to speak, it'll be very hard for me to speak about something that you guys already don't know. So let me try and do just that, okay? So I will take off on some of the themes that were touched upon by my previous dignitaries, people who have spoken on, and I'll also try and put an economist's hat, often in trying to connect digitalization and economics. It is, after all, an economics convention. So I think I'm going to touch on 3 themes in my short talk right now. One is that we are living in a digital age. There is no debating that. There are several aspects of our lives that have changed meaningfully. I was sitting here and I was watching kids having cell phones, taking photos. I was just thinking, when I was your age and slightly younger, I used to go to the STD booth after 11 o'clock because STD rates were 1/4 rate, and I used to call my parents in Gujarat. That was the time things were cheap and And now if I want to call up any of my friends, so it's free. Data is almost free. We've also, so that's just one way how things have changed. I was very proud when I was gifted a dictionary in my fifth class or sixth class. It was a small, tiny Oxford dictionary, and I used to go through it. And today we have the entire Britannica on our phones. So access to information is already there, and I'm reminded of what Dr. Jagtiani said, quoting Dr. Manmohan Singh. We know everything and we know nothing, right? That's the challenge. How do you make sense of anything in this information heavy world, rather data heavy world? So I'm going to touch upon these three themes. My first theme is that we are in a digital age. My second theme is something very specific, and I'm sure it has not been touched yet, which is, I'm going to speak something very specific since I work in an exchange after all. It's about retail investments. What has digitalization done with retail investments in this country? I'm going to give you some thoughts, some figures on that. And the third theme that I'm going to touch upon is, again, something I'm not sure many of you would be aware of. It is something that could be debated in the convention, D4D. That's data for development. Again, something that one has to sort of think of. So, on the digital age, Dr. Bangar absolutely gave us the idea about what has changed, how India is leapfrogging in a meaningful manner, creating what we call soft infrastructure. See, a lot of our development in the last 5 years, 6 years, 10 years since the digital age set upon us has been done without the kind of capital that was required to see similar development in the developed world. So our development has happened with phones, access to data, having policy-led interventions like Aadhaar, as he rightly pointed out. Over 1.3 billion people today have Aadhaar, which allowed institutions, entities to recognize individuals. It's very easy for some of us to go and say, this is my passport, this is my ration card. Identification is something that we take for granted. It's not that easy for many of our fellow Indians. With Aadhaar, this bridge has been crossed in a meaningful manner. So having Jan Dhan, the JAM Trinity, Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, mobile, it has been transformative in a manner I think it will take some time to, for us to understand. It's not easy. Remember, when you are in a business, the biggest cost that you have is a search cost. Who are your customers? Are your customers going to come to you? And for the customer to find out where is he going to get the best price. See, I work in an exchange. This is an electronic market. We have at any point 1.3 crore people trading. Okay, and all information is easy, liquid, very easily available. Most markets are not in perfect conditions, in perfect markets like this way. So we do not have perfect competition in most of the places. Information, the search for information, the search cost, the only way it can be brought down is with technology, and the digital age has basically done that for us. So the first theme that I am setting off is information is easy. Now what do you do with this information? You obviously try and get insights from this information, right? Now if you get insights from this information, you're going to get overwhelmed rather soon, very soon. You can easily read, you can go to Google, search for any English word, you will get the meanings, you will get synonyms, antonyms. You want to find basic things that we used to learn in general knowledge, right? Capitals, currencies, presidents, dignitaries of countries, winners of the football, World Cup, past winners. You find it all. But what are you going to do with that information? So one thing that computers are doing easy today is prediction. It is super easy to do prediction. How can prediction affect you? Picture this. When I was a child, I wanted to find my way around Mumbai or Madras where I grew up. I had to remember the roads, or I had to ask someone, where's this road, where's that road? Today you have Google Maps. We all use it without even thinking. So we are using machines, we are using prediction because thanks to information, thanks to digitalization, prediction has become cheap. Prediction has become cheap in so many ways. A credit card company is able to identify card defaults in a manner which was not possible earlier. Your cars are moving computers. The number of sensors, safety sensors that they have are something that could not have been thought even 10 years back. So the first theme that I'm sending out is in this digital age, with information, prediction is becoming cheap. There are many, books, themes that are, debating on this particular topic. How would we use this additional, nugget of prediction in our lives is something that needs to be thought of. The second point I would speak about, as I said, is on retail investments. So all of us, we are economic students, most of us anyway have some savings, right? What do we do with our savings? We try and save them in equity, debt, one of the two classes. Sometimes we save in commodities, we save in gold, sometimes we buy real estate, various things, right? Now, a lot of that saving depends upon the return on that investment. You want to buy a house because you're expecting it to go up higher in rates. You're buying a share or a mutual fund because you expect that mutual fund will go higher in rate because the companies that the fund is buying in return will do better. That's the idea. You're betting on the economy. You're buying debt because you want return on investment in a slightly risk-free manner. Depends upon whether you're buying gilts or you're buying companies. Alright. Now, over the last 10 years, think about it. From 2015 onwards, we've had rates actually coming off in the economy. We've had high inflation all the way till 13, 14, and after that, once inflation came off, to sustain growth, to help growth, interest rates were coming off in the economy. If you see the economic students here should see RBI's policy rate from January of 2015. You will see a downward curve all the way until 2018, and then again you will see a downward curve. What was this? This was the central bank trying to support growth in the economy by getting cost of funds down. Alright, what does this do for common people like us? It basically brings the cost of loans down. It also brings, however, the cost of our deposits down. The return that you get on your deposits used to be 8%, 8.5%. By the time of the COVID pandemic, it was 3.75% or 4%. That's what it was. So when you get lower returns on your investments, what do? It's okay if you're earning a lot more. It's okay if your students and your parents are funding your education. You don't really care. But if you're a retired person and you have high inflation, a lower return on your investments is not very helpful. So what do? You try and search for places which can give you higher returns. So you try and diversify your portfolio. Now remember mutual fund SINGH hai, that advertisement, right? It echoes with a lot of us. So what has happened in the last 5 years is basically households in India have diversified their financial savings across other asset classes. Traditionally, the Indian households were, either they would keep, savings in cash or real estate, or largely deposits. If it was financials, it was deposits. But over the last 5 years, what has happened is that they have started investing in funds. They've also started investing directly in the markets. This, how do I link it with digitalization? A large part of it, I argue, is due to digitalization. You have a situation today where you have some of the cheapest data rates in the world, as Dr. Banger said. You've also got some of the cheapest 4G phones in the world, now 5G phones. And you have JAM, you have Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and mobile. To open a bank account today, to open an Aadhaar, a trading account today, to open a mutual fund account today, if some of you are bored in the rear seats, you could be doing that by the time my speech is over. It is that easy. When I tried to do this 15 years back, I had to sign 20 times in a place. Many of us, you have stock accounts, you will remember this. So things have become very, very easy. Now, how does that translate into numbers? You see, the number of investors today, as I said, in the markets are about 1.3 crores every day. We are a 135 crore country, out of which working population, people who are generally less than 60 and above 15 years of age is about 500 million. So we have about 13 million of them trading in the markets. We have about 100 million of us investing in the markets. So 100 million investing in the markets, is it a large number? It's a massive number if you see any other country. But if you see India, out of 1.35 billion people, it's not. It's a huge amount of headroom that's still really there. But you'll be surprised. See, when I began my career in the late 90s, the number of Indians that were invested in the market was 2%. Okay, 10 years into my career, the number of investors that were there in the markets, 2%. 15 years into my career, it was 2%. Last 4 years, it has jumped to 10%. What has happened? this is digitalization. This exactly is digitalization. So one theme is this. So whether it is directly into markets or indirectly through mutual funds, Indians today, Indian households today are increasingly getting into an alternate asset class. That's the economic problem for you, and it is through digitalization. This is the second theme that I put up. So the third part that I want to speak about is something called data for development. Most of us are very happy using data. We just use Google, we see YouTube. Indians, by the way, consume the maximum amount of data in the world. 12 GB per day per capita. What do we do with that? With 12 GB per day? We see YouTube. Indians are the world's largest data consumers watching YouTube. So, great, very nice. So, but what happens with all the data that we are generating? Think about all the data you are generating. Now you'll be surprised. I'm a consumer of data. Where am I generating my data? Let me give you an example. 10 years back, this company, today we have Vodafone. Earlier it used to be known as Hutchison. It was Hutchison Orange. So Orange in Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast for some of us in Africa, they said, you know what, we'll take this mobile data and we'll give it to the world. You can't give mobile data to the world, it's all private data, right? So we will anonymize it. We will not tell you who called whom, but we will tell you there was a call made from this place to this place. So they took the country and they said calls were made from point A to point B, calls were made from point A to point B. And Ivory Coast is a big country, is it? No, it's not. It's a small country. So in 2012, they basically gave it out to the world. They said this is anonymized data. Kar lo jo karna hai. Do what you want with this data. People were encouraged to come up with solutions as to what they could do with cellular data. You will be surprised. I was surprised with the kind of solutions people came in with. So they took the map of Ivory Coast and they said, this is how we can index poverty in this country using cellular data. One solution. Second solution, this is how we can control malaria. This is how we can control cholera. Now, controlling cholera with cellular data, papers are there, just check. Data for Development 2012 Orange. You'll get it. So the possibilities of data for development, and this is what the field started becoming called, that people are generating data while using these digital devices that we are so popular with today. They are generating enormous amounts of data. How can we use this data in a manner that actually helps the public? So, disease eradication, poverty indexation, HIV spreads, COVID spreads. All of us remember MCGM daily MISs. Mumbai BMC used to provide daily MISs. The map of Mumbai, so many wards, color. So that was geospatial data. It was basically a GIS, a geographical information system, coming to you with COVID data. That can be done at an enormous level across the country. You'll be surprised the enormous amount of data that the government of India has provided to you at this moment in terms of its data for development. For instance, you can take a map of India and get only schools on that map. Not your Google map, not the Google map that you see on your phone, no. You go to this government website and you say, I want to see only schools. For the businesses among us, I want to see only cold storages. I want to see only primary healthcare centers. So there are GIS maps with various layers. The government of India gives 23 such layers. I'm just giving you examples of data geospatially that's available to you. Now imagine data on education, imagine data on savings, imagine data on tax returns, direct taxes, indirect taxes. There's an enormous amount of possibility that is, which is there for this data to be responsibly shared with the public in an anonymized manner. That's the third theme that I wanted to speak about, data for development. So just to summarize, it's been great here. Digitalization is permeating. I for one, I started coding BASIC. I don't know, many of you would not have even heard the language. You might know Visual Basic maybe, but I coded BASIC in 1985. Okay, so I'm ancient from that sense. And what I see today, life has changed. So this is a perennial sense of wonder for me. And the three themes that I wanted to leave with you were digital age, retail investments in the country only going to go up, Okay, just one thought there, because I'm a markets guy, I have to speak of this. The first 6 months of 2022 were the worst 6 months in 50 years for global markets. Global markets were down 20%. India was not down at all. Why? Retail investments. Huge amounts of retail investments in the market came in. That was the second thing. And the third part was data for development. Thank you. Thank you.